Hey guys, here to talk to you about one of the most basic parts of music theory, and that is rhythm. Before we can really talk about rhythm, though, we are going to have to talk about two concepts. Many times, beginning musicians think that these words are interchangeable and they mean roughly the same thing, but they don't. So it's important that you understand the difference between the beat and the rhythm. The beat in music is the steady underlying pulse. In all of music, it is steady, it is continuous, it's there, and it's mostly something that musicians can feel. The audience can also feel the beat in the music, and this is different than the rhythm. Now, rhythm is such a weirdly spelled word because it's Greek and not English. And so make sure you know that there are two H's and one Y. Why? Because it's Greek. All right. The beat is the steady underlying pulse, and the rhythm is the pattern of change that's over top of that steady beat. That means that it's not something that we're really going to feel. It's something that we're going to be able to perform. And if we're going to perform a different rhythm, we need to have symbols that will tell us how long something is going to last. So those symbols that tell us about duration or how long sound will last are called notes. Now, when we take a look at notes, they are different from each other in a couple of different ways. First of all, the most basic part of the note is the note head. This note head here is colored in, but they can be clear. Also, you can have a stem on a note head. Now, stems can go up like this note here, or it can go down like these notes over here. That means that all notes look like either the letter D or the letter P. Please make sure, especially if you're getting notes tattooed on your person, that you make sure your tattoo artist knows this important fact about notes. If not, you'll look like an idiot. Now, you can have note heads that are clear, and there can be clear-headed notes that have stems. There can also be clear-headed notes that don't have stems. You will never see a note that has a filled-in head without a stem. Those aren't possible. You can also see that some notes have flags. Those hang off the ends of the stems. And sometimes when there are multiple notes with flags, you can beam those flags together for ease in reading and keeping them separated. Because of that, we can then talk about the different durations of different kinds of notes. Now, different kinds of notes also have names. These names have to do with how notes relate to each other in duration. It is super, super, super important that you do not fall into the trap of believing that quarter notes are always equal to the number 1. That is not true, because no note has any numerical value assigned to it unless and until it has other things in the music that tell you about that. Notes only relate to each other. So instead of naming these notes like George and Tom and Frank, we have notes like whole note. This whole note is a clear note head without a stem. It's something that lasts for the whole time, hence its name. You can take the value of the whole and divide the whole in half. When you do that, you'll need to add a stem to the note head that is clear. These are half notes. One half note is equal to the value of half of a whole note, hence the name half. You can further subdivide these notes. A quarter note has a filled-in note head and a stem. 1/4 note is worth a quarter of the value of the whole note. You'll notice that there are 2 quarter notes in the value of each half note. Quarter note is its name because 1/4 is a quarter of the whole. We can subdivide further into eighth notes. Eighth notes have colored in note heads. They have stems. They also have one flag. 1/8 note is worth an eighth of the value of the whole note. That's where it gets its name. Quarter notes have 2/8 notes worth of value inside of them, and half notes have 4 eighth notes inside the value of them. If you're taking a look at the next level down, and for all subsequent values, you'll notice mathematically whole, half, quarter, eighth. The next one is 16th. It has a colored in note head. Instead of one flag, it has two on its stem. If we mathematically go further and subdivide, we could go to 32nd notes, to 64th notes, to 128th notes. Now, these are mathematically possible, but as is the case in math, whatever could be a possibility isn't always practical. So we see 16th notes a lot. You may see 32nd notes, and those would have three flags instead of just two, but they're not likely. And so, because it just gets tricky. In our next video, we will talk about how we have symbols that are for when we don't have any sound. See you later.